Good morning. In 1936, which is when this car was made, they didn't care about things like, seatbelts and safety. You know what else they didn't care about? The opinions of women with common sense. I'm going to change that today. Today I'm fitting seatbelts. So I really want to take my wife out on a drive this weekend, but she's just not comfortable without seatbelts in the car. To be honest, I'm not particularly comfortable without seatbelts either. I'm used to seatbelts now. So behind me, I should have everything that I need to install 3-point seatbelts. Technically they're 4-point seatbelts. I'll show you why when I dig them out, but they're in there somewhere. So I'll be back in a minute when I get all the bits. So back in 1936, as I said before, they didn't have seatbelts. Now, because my car didn't have seatbelts, it also doesn't have the structure to mount seatbelts. So I'm going to have to make that. These are the seatbelts, I'll show you them in a second. This is what I'm going to make the structure out of. So I've dug out a selection of square tubing. This is like 1.5 inch, various sizes, and I've got some 1/4 inch flat steel as well. So I've got everything I need to make the structure, but I'll show you that in a second. Let's go back to the seatbelts. So everyone's familiar with the modern 3-point seatbelt. If you're sitting on the driver's side, you would reach over your arm, pull it diagonally over your chest, click it down, and then there's a lap belt that goes and anchors down the left-hand side of the chair. Now, also, these are brand new, and I'm pretty sure that all brand new seatbelts, unless you order it from like a hot rod specialist, but they're all going to come with this gizmo here, which is a sort of auto tensioner. If you're in an accident, it sends a signal from this wire here. It would be attached to somewhere in the bumper to detect an impact, and it would basically lock up the seatbelt so that there's absolutely no play. Normally a seatbelt just works with, if you pull it too hard, it clicks into place. But these actually pull it a wee bit tighter to prevent that from even getting that far. So as much as I don't require this, it's totally integrated into this, so I'm just going to use it. Well, I'm going to install it, I'm not going to use it. Now the thing with this will get installed roughly like that. Now this has got to be perfectly straight. As you can see, the belt will come out, no problem at all. Tilt it a little bit and it just locks. I mean, it's supposed to lock, but only if you tug it tight. But as I say, if it's even tilted like that, you can't even pull it gently. So I need to make sure I install this straight. This is what I was saying before. This is actually your 4th anchor point. Let me draw it out for you. So let's say this is the driver's seat, okay, and this is the driver's door. Little door catch there, blah, blah, okay? And that's the back quarter window. So the seat belt will be attached here and at the other side of the seat there. So it gets anchored onto the chair itself. Now, some cars might actually have anchor points on the floor, but mine are on the chair, which is great because the chair's securely bolted down to the floor. It also means that the seat belt will move with the chair. If you move it back and forward, you're not getting, strangled by the seat belt because it's moving with you. And then the tensioner top mount will need to go beyond the door, obviously. So it's going to be back here. And that would be your 3 main anchor points, okay? You would pull the belt down from there. It would clip into there, and the lap belt would go over to the other anchor point, and that's your 3 points. However, the 4th anchor point is actually directly below that. Let's see, it's behind this, okay? And secures down there. So the belt actually gets fed up from this section here. When you pull this down, it gets fed up out of the reel, and round there. So it's technically 4 anchor points. Right, let's go and have a look inside the car and see what structure we can build for this section here. Because as I say, there's nothing there to take that anchor point behind the shoulder. So we'll have a look at the passenger side. I've got a bit more room to open a door around this side. So that is my lower, or one of my lower anchor points on the seat, and there's one just like that at the other side of this chair. So that leaves another 2 anchor points to sort out. The top diagonal anchor point will need to go about here. I can't have it too far up because the metal gets a bit thin in there. And I think, judging by where you would set your shoulders, would be about there. It would come round about there. It's tricky because the seat will move back and forward, so I'm kind of limited. So I'm going to start with there. I might put a couple of possible mounting holes so that I can adjust up and down if I like. And then the lower mechanism section has to go in here somewhere. But as you can see, I've got nothing. I've got no structure. So I'm thinking at the very least I will make one of those square tube beams to go from here down to there, and then I might add another diagonal one going from the beam down to that beam down there. Now I could bolt it in or I could weld it in. I'm inclined to bolt it in case I want to do any body work in the future. It's easier to take a bolt out than it is to cut welds off. So I guess I'm going to do some more drawing. First modification required. So this is the anchor where your seatbelt clips into. It goes in this point here. However, this section here is like 2 inches short. So I need to add a bit of steel. It's not even very thick. So I will make a little section that goes about that long. Weld it all the way around and weld it through that hole, make it nice and solid, paint it up, see how it looks. Right, that's the before. And this is the almost after. I had to make that sort of shape as well. I'm going to do a trial fit in the car. The bolt that's on the seat is quite far in, so the original seat belts on that seat obviously had extenders. So hopefully that'll work. If that fits nice, then I will finish welding it up all the way around there and a big dollop in the middle. Let's go and try it in the car. There we go, it's in its little loop. And that's attached at the bottom of the corner of the seat. So I didn't want it sticking up too far. You end up sitting on it if it's a way up here, but that should be just fine. So I will take that off, finish welding, and then give it a paint, do the other side as well. And bang my head in the car as I leave. So that's my seat belt clips, welded, painted. I'll let them dry overnight and then I'll get on with the rest. See you shortly. So I have my catch anchors installed now. So it's time to construct something on these pillars for the rest of the mechanism. So this is the mechanism I need to attach, and it's going to go roughly down there. But there's nothing really for it to attach to. I mean, I could try and attach it to that, but I still need something at the top for the next section to attach to around about here. So I need to fabricate something, and I think I'm going to use a bit of that square tubing. It's about 1.5 inch, and it'll go from roughly there all the way down. That'll get attached to the bottom of it, and the next join will get attached up there. So let me show you a diagram of what I'm thinking of. So this is the passenger seat, okay? This line is the seat belt. So it starts down here at the mechanism attached to this beam that I'm talking about. It gets pulled up that way, goes round that swivel, goes diagonally down, clips into the anchor point in the middle of the car. Bear in mind that's the passenger seat looking at it. And then it goes over the lap like that and joins to the other anchor at the other side of the chair. So it's this section I need to make. So all I need to do is measure the length I need, work out how I'm going to attach it to the car, drill some holes, Bob's your auntie. So I've done a wee mock-up. I've got the lower mechanism clamped roughly where it should be. the upper swivel part, it's not quite where it should be. It should be another couple of inches backwards. But it'll give me a rough idea of the height that I require, so I'll give it a shot. So as you can see, the belt's, it's a wee bit low, but I think if it was further back it would raise it up to about there, which isn't bad at all. I hate it when a seat belt rubs against your neck, so I'd rather it was a wee bit lower, but it's got to be above the shoulder. So that's my shoulder there, and it's sitting just on my shoulder. I'd rather it was up there. So I reckon move it back a couple of inches height wise. Yeah, it feels good. It works. Okay, so now I need to make the column that I'm going to mount it all to. Awesome. Right, the story so far. So I've attached the bottom mechanism through into the body of the car. I've used a stainless steel spacer here because I had to obviously bring that out from this beam. Still, it still slides nicely. So that's the bottom anchor. Now it's temporarily in place because now I have to work out. I'm going to attach the beam at the top. Now it's going to have to sit out a bit there. So I'm thinking I could just use a sort of L bracket going from there to this point. I'm not welding anything onto the body at this point in case I want to change the structure. So just an L-shape bracket from there to there. Can drill a hole through here. Use one of these coach bolts because they're quite flush. And that will attach that. And then once I'm happy with that position, I might make another beam going from here down to that beam. Bolt it on there, bolt it on there. And that should be plenty strong enough for my seatbelt. I hope. Give it a shot. This is the beam I have created. It gets bolted in at the bottom. This section here is where it bolts to the A pillar or B pillar or C pillar, whatever that pillar is, it bolts in there. And that hole there is where the top swivel joint, seatbelt swivel thing bolts in. So I've just welded that, so I'm going to wait for that to cool down. Give it a quick paint, throw it in. Winter has returned. I'm not shoveling that. What's the point? Not going anywhere. Right, let's install this thing. just one bolt left. Well, one nut left. Okay, so we should be ready to rock and roll. Whew, excuse me. Let's give it a shot. Oh yes, so it's nicely over my shoulder, just where I wanted it. I'm a bit low. Yeah. Seatbelt! That feels better. Cool. Just got the passenger side to do now. Oh, there is one more thing. I've still to add the beam that goes from the horizontal beam across to the back. But again, I'll just add a bit of steel with a couple of bolt holes and just bolt it in for now. Ideally, I would like this beam going all the way around the top and down the other side, give it a bit more rigidity and act as a kind of rollover bar as well. But that's perfectly fine. That'll work as a seatbelt for now. Awesome. So I better get on with doing the other side. Now, I know I could have just done a lap belt, you know, from one side to the other and the anchors were already there, but with an older car like this, you don't have a collapsible steering wheel. It's all very rigid, so a lap belt would not prevent you from smashing your face into the steering wheel. At least with the 3-point with the shoulder, it's going to stop a bit, so you might just graze your forehead rather than completely destroy it. That's my thinking. I just feel more comfortable with a 3-point, 4-point seatbelt. Anyway, another job done. Well, half a job done, but I know what I'm doing to get the other side done. Shouldn't take me long. I'm not going to bore you with that. It's just the same, but mirrored, you know. So, this weekend, what are we doing? No idea. Might do a live stream on Saturday night. Oh, I tell you what I need to do. I need to do the map update. So, on this video, leave a comment with where you are in the world. Stick a pin in the map. If you don't know what I'm talking about, click up there and you'll see what I mean. But for now, that is all. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye.